Have you ever noticed that you can't grab your own consciousness? I mean, really grab it, hold it, point to it, say, there it is, that's mine. You can't, because consciousness isn't a thing you possess. It's something happening right now, right this second, while you're hearing these words. Most people spend their entire lives thinking they own their awareness, like it's property, like it's a possession tucked somewhere behind their eyes. But try to find it. Go ahead. Where is it exactly? Point to the spot where your consciousness lives. You can't do it, can you? That's not because you're not looking hard enough. It's because you're asking the wrong question entirely. See, ownership requires distance. You own a car, you're over here, the car's over there. You own a thought, you're the thinker, the thought's the thing being thought. But consciousness is the happening itself. It's not yours. You're not experiencing it. You are the experiencing. Stop for a second. Notice what's going on right now. You're aware of what? Of these words, of the sound, of your body sitting or standing or whatever you're doing. But who's aware? You might say, I am. But what is that I? Is it another thing you're aware of? Or is it the awareness itself? This is where it gets interesting. Because if you're aware of your thoughts, then you're not your thoughts. If you're aware of your body, you're not just your body. If you're aware of your emotions, your memories, your personality, then none of those things are actually you. They're just more stuff appearing in consciousness. So what are you? You're the space where all of this appears, the experiencing itself, the happening, not the owner of the happening, the happening. But you've been trained to think otherwise. From the moment you could speak, people asked you, what do you think? What do you want? What do you feel? And slowly, gradually, you built this idea that there's a you in there who has thoughts, has wants, has feelings. A little CEO sitting in your skull, running the show, owning the experience. Except there's no CEO, there's just the show. Look at a movie. When you're really absorbed in a film, where are you? Are you sitting in the theater thinking, I own this viewing experience. This is my perception of this film. No, you're just watching. The watching is happening. No owner required. Then the movie ends, you stand up, and suddenly you remember, oh right, I'm me. I'm the person who watched that. You recreate the owner. You step back into the character you play. But during the movie, pure experiencing. No you necessary. That's what consciousness is like when you stop pretending to own it. You might be thinking, okay, but I make decisions, I choose things. Doesn't that require a me who's choosing? Does it? Watch what happens the next time you make a decision. A real one, not some trivial thing. Watch closely. Does the decision maker appear first, then make the decision? Or does the decision just emerge? The thought arises, the feeling follows, the action happens, and then a split second later, you claim it. I decided that. But did you? Or did you just witness a decision occurring and then take credit for it? Here's a simple test. Right now, decide what your next thought is going to be. Go ahead, decide it in advance. Choose the exact thought you'll think in 3 seconds. You can't, can you? Thoughts just appear. You don't author them. You experience them. They show up in consciousness like clouds in sky, and then you say, those are my clouds. But the sky doesn't own the clouds. The sky is just a space where clouds appear. Same with you and your thoughts. You're the space, the experiencing, not the owner. Now, you might feel some resistance to this, because if you're not the owner of your consciousness, then what happens to control? What happens to responsibility? What happens to your entire identity? Good questions. Stay with them. Don't rush to answer. Because the thing about consciousness is that it doesn't care what you believe about it. It's happening anyway. Right now. Whether you think you own it or not. Whether you understand it or not. It's just there. Here. Happening. And when you stop trying to possess it, something very strange occurs. You realize you never could possess it in the first place, that the whole game of ownership was just another thought appearing in consciousness. Another cloud in the sky. The relief that comes from this is hard to describe, because when you're not constantly trying to grab onto consciousness, to control it, to make it yours, it just flows freely, naturally, without effort. You ever been so absorbed in something that you forgot yourself completely? Playing music, making love, having a conversation where time disappeared? What happened to the owner during those moments? It vanished. And consciousness didn't vanish with it. In fact, consciousness became more vivid, more alive, more present, because it wasn't being squeezed through the filter of ownership. This is what I mean when I say consciousness is something you experience, not own. The experiencing is the consciousness. There's no separate you having the experience. There's just experiencing happening. Let that sink in for a moment. Because your entire life, you've been operating under a different assumption. You've assumed there's a you in there, a central command, a witness, an owner, and that you that separate you is having experiences. Life is happening to you. Consciousness belongs to you. But what if it's backwards? What if you are happening I in consciousness? What if consciousness is the fundamental thing, and you, the person, the personality, the owner, are just a pattern appearing within it, like a wave appearing in the ocean? The wave isn't separate from the ocean. It is ocean, moving, temporarily taking shape, then dissolving back. Same with you. You're not separate from consciousness. You're a temporary pattern of experiencing. A way consciousness is moving right now, a wave. And when the wave crashes, the ocean doesn't disappear. Only the waveform does. You see where this goes? When you stop trying to own consciousness, death stops being the end of you, because there was never a separate you to end. There was only consciousness experiencing itself in this particular pattern for a while, then moving on to experience itself in different patterns. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's come back to now, to this moment, to what's actually happening. You're aware of something, of many things, probably. Sounds, sensations, thoughts, this voice speaking. And that awareness, is it something you're doing? Or is it something that's just occurring? Be honest. You can't turn awareness off. Even in deep sleep, something is aware of the sleep. Otherwise, how would you know you slept? Some continuity of experiencing runs through the whole thing. You just can't find the one who's experiencing it, because there isn't one. There's only the experiencing. This is what scares people about psychedelics, you know. Not the colors or the visions or the weird thoughts. It's this, the dissolution of the owner. The moment when you realize there's no one home, just homecoming, just experiencing flowing freely without anyone there to grab it. Some people call that ego death. I call it ego recognition. Recognizing that the ego was never alive in the first place. It was always just a thought pattern, a habit, a repeated claim of ownership that consciousness was making about itself. This is mine. This is me. I'm having this. But who's saying that? Another thought, another pattern in consciousness, not an actual owner. Look right now. Look closely at what's happening. Is there really a separate you in there having this experience? Or is there just experience appearing, calling itself you? Don't answer too quickly. Let the question hang there. Because the moment you answer, you've created an answerer. You've generated the owner again. And we're back to the illusion. The real answer isn't verbal. It's a direct seeing, a recognition, a shift in how consciousness experiences itself. And when that shift happens, even for a moment, everything changes. Not the content of your experience, the relationship to it. You stop feeling like life is happening to you, and you start recognizing that life is happening as you, through you. You're not having consciousness. You are consciousness, having this particular human experience. Temporarily, which means you're also having the tree experience over there, and the bird experience, and the sky experience. Because if consciousness isn't owned by anyone, If it's just the universal experiencing itself, then every point of experience is the same consciousness looking out through different eyes. You might think I'm getting mystical here, but I'm just following the logic. If consciousness isn't yours, if it's not a personal possession, then whose is it? Everyone's? No one's? Or maybe those are the same thing? See, the idea of separate consciousness, your consciousness, my consciousness, only makes sense if consciousness can be owned. But we've already seen it can't be. It's not a thing. It's a happening. And the happening can't belong to anyone because there's no one separate from the happening to own it. There's just the happening itself. Appearing here, appearing there, same happening, different content. Your hand, my hand. Same consciousness, different forms. And suddenly, separation becomes impossible, not as a belief, as a direct recognition. You're still distinct, this body, this personality, that personality, but the experiencing, the awareness that's aware of the body and the personality, that's not separate. That's shared. That's universal. Not shared like we all have a piece of it. Shared like we all are it. The same awareness looking out through 7 billion pairs of eyes. But again, I'm getting ahead. Come back, right here, this moment, this experiencing that's happening right now. Notice it's not something you decided to do. You didn't wake up this morning and say, today I will be conscious. Consciousness was already there when you woke up, already happening. You just opened your eyes and there it was. Immediate, undeniable, present. You've never not been conscious. Even when you think you've been unconscious, sleeping, knocked out, anesthetized, something was there, some continuity. Otherwise there'd be no memory of waking up, no sense that time passed. You just blink and boom, different moment. But there's a thread running through it. Always, that thread isn't yours. It's not something you're maintaining. It's just happening, automatically, eternally, experiencing itself. And you, the person you think you are, is one of the things it's experiencing, not the one doing the experiencing. Let me say that again, because it's the whole point. You are not experiencing consciousness. You are something consciousness is experiencing, a thought form, a belief, a pattern of mental activity that claims to be the center of the experience, but you're not the center. You are part of the content, another appearance in awareness, another wave in the ocean. When you get this, really get it, the strangest thing happens. You don't disappear. The personality doesn't vanish. You still have preferences, make choices, live your life, but the grip loosens. The desperation to be someone, to matter, to own your experience, it fades because you realize you were never separate from the experiencing in the first place. You were always consciousness. You just forgot. You got hypnotized by the thought of being a separate owner, and now you're waking up, remembering, not as an idea, as a direct recognition. This is it, right now. This experiencing that's happening. That's consciousness. That's you, the real you, not the character you play, not the story you tell, the experiencing itself. And it's not something you'll find in the future. After more meditation, after more thinking, after you figure it all out, it's already here, already happening. You just have to stop looking for the owner and see what's actually occurring. Pure experiencing, ownerless, limitless, present. Right now,